What's going on, Internet? So I am back today to talk about another film that I watched from 2021 that I was really looking forward to. And that film is Petite Maman from Céline Sciamma. 8-year-old Nelly has just lost her beloved grandma and is helping her parents clean out her mother's childhood home. She explores the house and the surrounding woods where her mother used to play, and where she built the treehouse Nelly has heard so much about. One day her mother suddenly leaves, and that is when Nelly meets a girl of her own age in the woods building a treehouse. I was introduced to Céline Sciamma's work through Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and obviously if you've seen that film, it is mind-blowingly incredible. Beautiful cinematography, incredible performances, and just a really well-written dialogue. Since then, I've gone back and watched most of Sciamma's catalog. There's only one of her films that I haven't seen. And what is pretty consistent throughout Sciamma's work, with the exception of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, is early on she worked a lot with younger kids or teenagers and really conveying that the trials and tribulations of youth. And a lot of time her films are very LGBTQ focused, and her characters are typically either gay or exploring their sexuality even at a younger age. And this is one of the first films that I've watched from her that is not diving into those concepts, but is much more just around family dynamic, relationship between a mother and a daughter, and the loss of a significant family member. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's very different than something I'm used to from Sciamma, but it was absolutely beautiful, and it was one of those movies that just made you feel good the entire time. There's a couple moments where the film is obviously very sad. It's dealing with a very heavy subject matter, but at the end of the day, this movie really is about the relationship between a mother and a daughter, and it's very beautifully conveyed. The movie has a very short runtime. It is only a little over an hour. I want to say like an hour and 7 or an hour and 8 minutes. It's really short. It's crazy to think most of Sciamma's other films are at least an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. But what was really impressive about this is that in the runtime of the film, being as short as it is, that Céline was able to craft. It's a gut punch of a movie. It really takes its time to build up these characters and make you care for them, even though it is such a short film. You get all the information that you need. It never spends too much time wasting on exposition. It opens with them clearing out the room at the grandmother's nursing home where she clearly passed away, and they go to the grandmother's house where our lead character's mom grew up, and they're cleaning out the house, and it becomes too difficult on the mother to stay there. You can tell that it's really taken an emotional toll on her, and she leaves, and then that's when our youngest character goes into the woods and meets this little girl. A lot of it is about the bond between those two characters, and there's a plot twist in it that I'm not going to give away yet, but I'll probably give it away towards the end of the video. The plot twist that's introduced that it really makes the movie unique and very different, and it feels like a really well-crafted and well-written story that a kid would read. As far as our performances, our lead character, the youngest girl, gives a fantastic performance for a young actress. Chemistry between her and the girl that she meets in the woods is very natural. Both of her parents give great performances. It's a very small-scale film. There's only like 5 or 6 actors in the entire movie, and you can tell probably shot during COVID. The crew and the performers small, so that way they could make something emotionally impactful but not have to worry about all the different restrictions and what have you. All of the people in this film give a really great performance, and it feels very naturalistic and real. Dynamic between Nelly and her parents, it never feels unrealistic. What I love is the growth in the characters in this hour-long runtime, and how you watch them grow and develop together, and that was really great to see. And you get glimpses into her mother and glimpses into her father, and how the loss of this grandmother has impacted them, the impact that she had on the family, how much the family cared for her, and then just where the mother's headspace was at. And the cinematography in this film is really nice. It's very warm and inviting. Like Sciamma's other work, the exception of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which has really beautiful landscapes, and it's supposed to feel like a piece of art. This is just a very small-scale, intimate family film that really works, and I loved the color grading in this movie. It really was very warm and inviting. It really made you feel even more, and when the runtime was over and that emotional gut punch hit, it sat with me a lot more than I thought that it would have. So I'm going to get into spoilers. I'll put a time code in here. It's hard to talk about the remainder of the film without getting into those, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, skip ahead, and I'll put a time code in when it's over. So yeah, the entire spoiler of the film is that the young girl that Nelly meets in the woods is the younger version of her mother, and she starts going over there, spending time with her, getting to know the younger version of her mother. And what I really like is, obviously this is a very like fantasy fairy tale look at this type of situation, but the younger version of her mother interacts with her dad. Nelly interacts with the younger version of her grandmother, and it feels really in the mind of a kid and how this would play out if something like this would actually happen. And it never felt ridiculous or campy. You're so immersed in this world that when that plot twist happens, you're so invested in it. It doesn't matter how absurd the idea of meeting the younger version of your mother in the backyard of her old house would be. But what's really great is just seeing how similar young Nelly and the younger version of her mother are, and the same things that they're going through, and their quirky personalities, and the fun that they have together, and watching those two characters grow, and then seeing how important it is for young Nelly to talk to her grandmother again and get that last interaction that she wanted. Because at the beginning of the film, she tells her mom that she wishes she would have said goodbye and that she could have been there more with her grandmother. And as somebody who lost my grandmother way before she should have passed away due to horrible cancer, I always think about how I wish I had more time with her, wish I could have said more to her. And this movie really made me miss my grandmother. And even though that's not the sole focus of the film, it's just a part of it, that family dynamic and wanting things to feel normal and wanting to understand your family more. I really love diving into her feeling like her mother's more distant now that her grandmother passed away, and the way that that's affected her, and then seeing the dialogue from the younger version of the mother talking about how it's not her fault and that she knows that she wouldn't be the problem in her life, and it's just really beautiful, and it's conveyed really well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the film. I think it was really well executed, beautifully shot, typical Céline Sciamma fashion, just a very incredible and well-crafted movie that I think everyone should see. So have you seen Petite Maman yet? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic. Very well paced, well acted, well shot, and a little bit over an hour runtime, so very much worth your time. As always, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I've got a lot of new videos planned for the future. Can't wait to get them out there for you. As always, Internet, thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.